The topic for discussion is personality, meaning, types, factors, and its importance in agricultural extension. Introduction. The term personality is derived from the Latin word persona, which means a mask. According to Arnold W. Green, I quote, "Personality is the sum of a person's values such as ideas, prestige, power, and sex with his or her non-physical traits," unquote. Personality, as we understand it, according to McIver, I quote, "is all that an individual is and has experienced so far as these all can be comprehended as unity," unquote. On the basis of these definitions, it may be said that there are two main approaches to the study of personality. One, psychological, and second, the sociological. There is also a third dimension, the biological approach. The psychological approach considers personality as a certain type of style peculiar to the individual, characterized by mental trends, complexes, emotions, and sentiments. The sociological approach considers personality in terms of the status of the individual in a particular group system. Let us now talk about types of personality. Some attempts have been made to classify personalities into types. The Swiss psychoanalyst Carl Gustav Jung emphasizes two main types, which include the introvert and the extrovert personalities. The introvert is preoccupied with his own self, the extrovert with things outside self. However, there is also a third type, that is the ambiverts, who vacillate between the two. Generally, people are considered ambiverts. Let us examine the factors that make personalities. Personality is a result of the combination of four main factors, that is, physical environment, hereditary, culture, and particular experiences. Let us now talk about personality and environment. To begin with personality and environment, as we all know, the influence of physical environment on culture has been significant. For example, the Eskimos have a culture different from that of the Indians is due to the fact that the former have geography different from the latter. 1,000 years ago, Aristotle claimed that people living in northern Europe were, owing to a cold climate, full of spirit but lacking in intelligence and skill. Montesquieu in the 18th century claimed that the bravery of those blessed by a cold climate enables them to maintain their liberty. Therefore, climate and topography determine to a great extent the physical and mental traits of a people. To talk about hereditary and personality. Hereditary is another factor determining human personality. Some of the similarities in men's personality are said to be due to his common hereditary. Every human group inherits the same general set of biological needs and capacities. These common needs and capacities explain some of our similarities in personality. If boys in a society prefer slim girls as their companion, such girls will receive greater attention of the society, providing them thereby more opportunities to develop their personality. Heredity can never be considered as charting a fixed and definite course of one's personality. To talk about personality and culture, there can be little doubt that culture largely determines the types of personality that will define a particular group. According to some thinkers, personality is the subjective aspect of culture. They regard personality and culture as two sides of the same coin. According to Frank, I quote, "Culture is a coercive influence dominating the individual and molding his personality by virtue of the ideas, conceptions, and beliefs which had brought to bear on him through communal life." Unquote. The culture provides the raw material of which the individual makes his or her life. For example, cleanliness is a matter not of hereditary but of the type of culture. To speak about personality and particular experiences. Personality is also determined by another factor, namely the particular and unique experiences. There are two types of experiences. One is those that stem from continuous association with one's group, and the other is those that arise suddenly and are not likely to recur. The type of people who meet the child daily has a major influence on his personality. The personality of parents does more to affect a child's personality. To talk about additional aspects of human personalities, society everywhere demands from its members conformity to its folkways, its values and standards. But often the individual fails to meet the requirements of the society in which he or she lives. As a result, he develops personality problems and becomes disorganized. Such a person is considered a mental case, a case of mental derangement or abnormality. The behavior of such personality is largely unpredictable. Personality disorganization therefore means that the individual is out of adjustment with a society who has failed to organize the chief goals of his or her life. In the modern society, men's desires have increased manifold. The rapid changes in society create new ideas, set up new standards while the old ones still persist. Primitive societies are said to be comparatively free from disorganized lifestyles. The absence of personality disorganization to a marked degree in the primitive societies is due to the fact that they were better integrated societies. In modern society, man is subject to a number of regulatory agencies. Every aspect of his or her life stands controlled today by one or the other agency. For example, the volume of state legislation having gone very high, the individual finds himself under the control of one regulation or the other at every step. It is very interesting to talk about human personalities and agriculture extension. Understanding of social values and attitudes will allow extension workers to analyze and assess rural situations with greater effectiveness and accuracy and make for more successful promotion of change among the people. Human behavior is said to result from attitudes that people have about ideas, objects, situations, and other people. Individual lives within the context of a society, certain values and shared with other members of the society, and these common social values of the society also fashion and govern human behavior. Values and attitudes in society make it easy or difficult for people to adopt new practices. So, in the part of a desired change, the important role of social values of particular groups, community, and society cannot be ignored. To talk about extension teaching, we can argue that arranging proper situations are required. The attention of the learners, say the farming community, the interests once developed can promote grassroots learning and activate rural economy. In order to ensure rural learning through extension programs, we have to follow the following steps. Step 1. Getting the attention of the learner. Step 2. Stimulating the learner's interests, which means once the people have come to know new ideas, the next step is to stimulate their interest through extension agents, contact through local leaders, farm publications, radio, TV, etc. Step 3. Arousing the learner's desire for acquiring information. It means unfreezing the existing behavior and motivating people for change is required. Visit to demonstrations, farm publications, personal contact by extension agent, group discussion, etc. are important at this stage. Step 4. Convincing the learner for action. It is the stage of strong persuasion so as to convince the people about the applicability of the new ideas or practice in their own situation and that it would be beneficial for them. Step 5. Getting action by the learner. This is the stage of putting the idea or practice into operation. A small-scale demonstration with supply of critical inputs may be set up in real-life situation of the individuals who come forward. Step 6. Making sure that the learner obtains satisfaction from his action. Satisfaction may come from high yield, more income, and better health, etc. The role of personality in agriculture extension. The role of personality in agriculture extension is interesting to understand. By studying the personality of farmers, extension agent can understand the values and value system of its clients and can proceed with the initiatives accordingly. By studying the personality of a particular farmer, the extension agent can get a clear idea about his various traits such as sociability. If a person is found with this trait, then he can be used as a key communicator to promote developmental activities in a particular village. Similarly, farmers with traits of empathy, sympathy, generosity can be engaged in trustworthy works like seed distribution, etc. It is very interesting to understand the extension initiatives in India. The history of extension initiatives in India goes back to pre-independence days. We can, however, refer to some post-independent period initiatives. One of the important initiatives was the National Extension Service of 1953. Almost for the first time in India, major steps were taken towards introducing a National Extension Service in the whole country. In the following years, another program titled Intensive Agriculture Development Program was launched in 1959-60. This program was supported by Ford Foundation's Agriculture Food Production Committee, which emphasized the government's role to eradicate laxity of agriculture production in India. It came out with a significant report called India's Food Crisis and Steps to Meet It. Encouraged by the success of Intensive Agriculture District Program, the central government introduced Intensive Agriculture Area Program in 114 districts of the country in 1964-65. Campaigns for high-yielding variety programs was also initiated in 1963. Another interesting extension program was to reach out to the tribal personalities. Tribal and Hill Area Development Program was introduced in the last years of the fourth five-year plan by the central government in 1973 and 74. The Tribal Development Project had been launched initially in the following states: Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, UP, Manipur. Similarly, Desert Development Program was initiated in 1977-78 in 36 districts of 7 estates. Swarna Jayanti Gram Sarojgar Yojana was introduced in the entire country from 1st April 1999. Another creative program entitled Agroclinic Yojana was launched in the following years. According to this project, the latest research knowledge of agriculture will be given directly to the farmers. The unemployed agriculture graduates will organize these centers. By this clinic project, many programs will be organized for the farmers in order to acquaint with the new avenues and modern facets of agriculture personalities in other parts of the globe. Since the personality of the farming community in India has been increasingly fluent with the latest agricultural technology, verified or approved seeds, the knowledge of preparing the soil for sowing different crops, the use of pesticides and insecticides, crop diseases and their treatment, different irrigation systems, the proper use of fertilizers and water, and the knowledge of agricultural instruments and the improvement of animals, variety, etc. have increased manifold. Conclusion. Towards the conclusion, it is interesting to say that personality is a sum of the ideas, attitudes, and values of a person, which determine his role in society and form an integral part of his or her character. Personality is acquired by individual as a result of his participation in group lives. To acquaint the farming community with the complex modern personality has been equally challenging against the backdrop of large milieu of illiteracy and economic hardships in India. Personality is not related to bodily structures alone. Personality is an individual unit. Personality is neither good nor bad. Every personality is unique, and personality is acquired and moderated. The personality of farming community in India is significant as a producing class. They are gradually learning and opening up to the world of extension initiatives, but not without caution. It would be proper to recall what Wordsworth once stated, I quote, "Learning is a lifelong process," unquote.